Typically a four-module plant, we're looking at approximately $100 million a year in revenue. From that, that's relatively on the conservative side. We should be valued as a clean tech technology company that is beyond the R&D stage into commercial production. So our valuations will be on the upper side.
The Financial Survival Network. Now more than ever. The Financial Survival Network.
Welcome. This is Financial Survival Network. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. We have a new sponsor that I am extremely excited to bring to you. In fact, I'm so excited, I've taken a major position for me in the company. That's how up on the company I am. It's Regenx Tech Corp. It is one of those companies that I am always on the lookout for. Imagine if you had a mining company and they never had to stick a shovel in the ground. They had ore grade of palladium and platinum of anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 grams per ton. Well, that's what we're talking about with Regenx. You're going to be hearing from the CEO and the president of the USA operations, Greg Pendura. Look, you got a proprietary process that can recover 90% of platinum, palladium, and throw in some rhodium too, that is currently trapped, if you will, in diesel truck catalytic converters, those that have been retired. I believe there's somewhere around 21 million of these per year, Greg. Right now, they're getting dumped in the landfill. I kind of view Regenx not just as a mining company, but as a green tech play. I see it extremely low risk with huge potential for high returns. That's why I'm here with you, Greg, and with you, Rick. Greg, it's an exciting time for Regenx. You've proved out your system. You're building your first industrial scale plant. You're fresh from a rights offering that raised the needed capital. Where does Regenx stand right now?
Well, we stand at a pretty exciting period of our path here, Kerry. Just to make one correction there on the diesel catalytic converters, the only commercially viable way of recovering precious metals from diesel catalytic converters are smelters. But that's a story in itself, because there's a hesitancy, if you like, to go down that path for a lot of the processing issues that they get with diesel catalytic converters with the silicon carbide in it. Now, just saying that, that's the reason why we focused on diesel, is because of this niche opportunity in the market. There's no place to go except for, as I said, smelters or landfills. And the more they don't want them, the more there's available. And you're correct, there's over 20 million cars a year with our diesel catalytic converters that are available. Less than 30% are recycled. That leaves over $20 billion a year on the table. And it's a huge market. Most people aren't aware of it. And as you were saying, we're just starting to build our first commercial plant in Tennessee, and it will be put together, I'm assuming Rick can talk to that, near the end of the first quarter of this year. We're very excited, Kerry, and it's a huge opportunity for us and for our shareholders.
So, Rick, you're from Canada, and some of my best friends are from Canada. Love visiting the country, but you've moved several thousand miles down to Tennessee. Now, granted, Tennessee has great weather and a very business tax-friendly climate, but that's a pretty big move. What possessed you to make that move?
Yeah, well, I've always wanted to move down to the south. I love in the area, but just the belief in the company and all the hard work that we've put over the last many years on R&D and proving out our process and the excitement of that. I mean, I've always been thrilled to be involved with startups, but now we're getting into operations and looking to really do something that hasn't been done before. So that's part of the journey and the adventure, and that's why we decided to move down. And we sold our house, we burned the ships, and we moved to Tennessee for the time being.
All right. And obviously, the main reason is the opportunity here and the excitement of being on the cutting edge of a new technology that really will revolutionize an industry.
That's right. Yeah. When you're on the cusp of something that is really niche and unique, such as what we've got with Regenx, we're super excited and want to be a lead on that part. We're ready, and we're just going to keep on trucking along here until we get this thing going.
That's great. And you're at the present site overseeing the construction of the plant right now as we speak, correct?
I'm at the site right now. We've got guys that are delivering materials and equipment. We're standing up equipment here today, and we're installing things. So it's lots of progress, and every day you see movement in the dial being moved forward. So that's exciting.
And that beep that we're hearing is delivery taking place right now.
Yes. My apologies. I got a little background noise, but that's the activity happening in the facility. So
that's all right. We get the flavor of what's going on there. So, Greg, going back, 20 million catalytic converters, diesel catalytic converters get retired every year. More and more of them are going to the landfill, maybe not all 21 million, but a substantial number. And the equivalent of being able to yield 1,000 to 3,000 grams per ton of what otherwise would go into a landfill. Your partner, Ben Davies of Davies Recycling, he referred to himself as an urban miner. You're kind of becoming one yourself, aren't you?
No question about it. And we came from the mining background many, many years ago, and we do consider ourselves urban miners, even though we have a clean technology, eco-friendly technology. So that's another really a feather in our hat to be able to recycle precious metals in North America in an eco-friendly manner is really very exciting. You bring up Davis Recycling, major reason why we're in Tennessee, excellent partner that we're going to have as we move forward. He's the key to our supply chain management in this whole business. He's been in the business for over 20 years, highly regarded. He takes care of the supply chain aspects of the whole business, and all that we have to do is do our technology, and we're going to be making headlines real soon here, Kerry, and the world's going to hear about us.
Okay, and the thing is, to have the technology, Rick, is one thing. All right, tech is great, but if you can't get your raw materials, your raw goods, and I visited the Davis Recycling facility, is quite impressive. It's one of the reasons why I invested in the company. Having that supply chain is everything, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, Kerry. A lot of the important parts for us is we don't want to get on the supply chain side and trying to audit the material so that we know what the input is. We want to have the material come to us and not recreate the wheel. And Ben has done an incredible job. He's been in the business over 24, 25 years and understands that and has all those relationships. We don't have to get on that side of it. We just have to do what we do best, and he does what he does best. So it's really, really important. Supply, if you don't have supply, you don't have a business.
Yeah, and it also gives you that moat, the Warren Buffett moat. Like, oh, gee, your technology is proprietary, but maybe I can clone it and I can come up with my own system. But if I can't get the raw materials, Greg, right, I'm kind of up the river.
You're up the river. There's no question about that, Kerry. It's an important aspect of this business. It's a complicated business, and you have to know what you're doing on the supply chain side. And we're very, very fortunate to have Davis Recycling as our partner as we move forward.
I never asked you before, Greg, but how did you wind up getting into this?
Well, I've been involved with this company for some time, Kerry, and we started off in the mining sector as a junior miner. We had some assets in Spain. We sold one of those assets about 6 years ago. And at that time, we decided to let's see what we can do on the technology side in mining. So we were looking at how we could basically introduce something new to traditional mining, make it eco-friendly, and more or less be more on a portable basis. And that's how we started. And we developed equipment to do that, which evolved into basically processing precious metals from e-waste, from diesel catalytic converters. And we decided to focus on diesel catalytic converters because of, we call it a low-hanging fruit opportunity, because the reluctance of smelters to go down that path. That's the major reason, Kerry. And we've been working diligently here for the last three years, from lab to R&D to our startup here, and we're ready to go.
Hey, and with your mining background, you want to go do a project, you want to drill. There's environmental reviews, there's administrative, governmental, all of these things, permitting process. No permitting process here. Basically, if you wanted to open a 7-Eleven, it's pretty much the same permitting process as opening your plant down there, right?
We've gone through all the permitting aspects, if you like. Because our process is eco-friendly, obviously that curtails a lot of the issues with the permitting side. So it's like mining indoors, and that's a good way of looking at that. We can do it 365 days a year. One of the things we're finding is that the large corporate people involved in the automotive sector are looking for a use for the circular economy. They are looking for the ability to use recycled materials to make new materials. They want to be good corporate citizens to their shareholders as well. And we are the perfect example of how we can fit into that circular economy.
Hey, not to mention, and we're going to talk about this further, but a lot of our palladium and platinum comes from, shall we say, an unfriendly country that is engaged in a certain war right now?
No question. I mean, the two biggest countries that are producing platinum, palladium, one, Russia, and that's who you're referring to. The other one is South Africa. South Africa is going through pretty severe geopolitical problems right now themselves. So there is going to be a supply issue in the not too distant future here, and we're positioned well to take advantage of that.
Right. Hey, so Rick, can you just guide us through the process? All right. So I got this truck. I'm scrapping it. It's got a catalytic converter. It's got a bunch of other parts. What happens next?
Yeah. So they would take it most likely into a yard like Davis, for example. In our case, particularly Davis, and they would remove the catalytic converter, and that catalytic converter would go into a decanning process. So it just would split the catalytic converter and take the precious metals out in concentrate or powder, whether whatever form it comes in, and we basically receive the powder from Davis in a container or a sack, and that concentrate material is full of silica and sand and various other materials, including the precious metals. And then we put it through our process, and then out the other end, we get black powder and some waste material that actually is net zero because we have another use for it. In the end, we don't throw anything in landfills. We have a plan and a product that we're going to have out the other side that is going to have some value as well. So that's what our plan is. That's the process, and that's currently how it's done.
All right. So a simple process on the surface, you basically get the material. I believe it gets ground up into a powder. Do I have that right?
Yeah, it'll go through a grinder or something to get a certain size, a mesh size, and that mesh size is what we receive. Correct.
Right. So I find it interesting because there's a lot of green tech out there that is just not ready for prime time, Greg, and yet here you are. You're going into production.
Yeah, we're very fortunate in that regard, Kerry. We'll be in the second quarter of this year in full scale production. Our plant is designed to be a modular construction. There's reasons for that. A typical plant will have four modules. We're constructing our first module 1 right now. As that goes into production here in the second quarter, we will be adding modules 2, 3, and 4 to that. So Yeah, this is not a R&D project. It's not a 3 to 5 year project. We're going to be up and running here, producing dollars second quarter.
In terms of scalability, obviously diesel trucks, diesel cars, much more prevalent outside the United States. Is this scalable to other countries?
No question. It's a global issue, and there is as big a interest in Europe and Asia as there is in North America. There's no question about that. So we will have the opportunity to scale out globally. We're going to get our business set up on the U.S. side. And once that's established, then we will spread our tentacles, if you like, beyond that. It's a very, very efficient run business on a manufacturing level. The plants are very, very cost efficient, highly productive on the economic side. We have a lot of interested people looking at us already as we're moving forward.
You know, one thing I know you people out there are going to send me the question, put the comment up. We might as well nip it in the bud here. They're saying, but what about EVs? They're taking over the sector and, you know, the Tesla truck and all that. Is that a valid concern here, Greg?
No, not really. I mean, in the long term, there'll be more electric vehicles. There's no question. But in the next 10 to 20 years, we're not going to be able to handle what is going to be out there. So it's a long-term issue that we can address. In our foreseeable future here, it's not going to be a real issue at all.
One other thing, Rick, we just got the Inflation Reduction Act, which is, it seems to me, it's geared directly at companies like Regenx, and also the concept of carbon tax credits. What's the status of that for Regenx?
Yeah, we definitely are working in the background on a plan for the carbon credits. We know that there's a big opportunity on the carbon credit side for us in differential to a normal refiner, and what the differential is on their carbon credits compared to what we would do in our system. We definitely will be able to profit on that side for our investors.
All right. Tesla's made a virtual industry of carbon tax credits, so that would be great. Regenx could get in on that. The upside for you. Greg, let's talk about cash flow, investor returns. First, my question is, should Regenx be valued as a mining company, a tech company, a green tech company, or kind of a combination of the three?
You know, I mean, even though we sort of can call ourselves urban miner, Kerry, we're really a technology company with what we have. And I think we should be valued as a clean technology company that is beyond the R&D stage into commercial production. Our valuations will be on the upper side as we move forward.
Okay. And the plant you're working on now, once it's fully operational, what kind of cash flow can we look at there?
Well, typically, it depends on grades, again, of the materials that you're processing. But typically, a 4-module plant, we're looking at approximately $100 million a year in revenue from that. And, you know, that's relatively on the conservative side. The margins are very, very good in this business. It'll be very attractive to shareholders. I see excellent returns happening to our present shareholders and new ones as they come on board, as they hear about us, Kerry.
Palladium was trading at record levels. Now it's down in the high 1800s. But platinum, which has been trading under $1,000 per ounce for years, currently at $1,100 per ounce, thereabouts. How significant is that for Regenx?
In reality, the higher the price, the higher our margins. But we're somewhat protected in a large way because our price of feedstock is determined upon the spot price of the precious metals as well. There is a protection for us, if you like, a natural hedge on that. Our risk profile is quite low. We've got obviously the risk profile planned out for the plants as we move forward. And there has to be a total collapse of precious metals for us not to be profitable.
And at 1,000 to 3,000 grams per ton, that gives you a lot of room on the upside for sure. So I suggest you all go over to regenx.tech. That's REGENX.tech, and sign up for the mailing list so you get the notifications. You'll find out when production is actually commencing. Ticker symbol in the US, RGXTF, and in Canada, RGX. Thanks, gentlemen, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks a lot, Kerry. It's been great talking to you.
Thanks, Kerry.
The Financial Survival Network.